Hello.
Hi.
Sorry about that. So, Gio, what do you want to talk about today?
I was hoping that we could talk about anger.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about anger?
I think I struggle with anger at home a lot.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. Sometimes I just feel really irritable, like I want to be by myself, but when my partner is around and I can't be by myself, I'm like mean. I just get mean. Like I say mean things, or I just like emotionally disconnect a little bit, and I want to like stop doing that.
That's an interesting and kind of big thing you've got going on there. So just so that we're on the same page, so that I understand, you're feeling anger at home, and when you're angry, you feel like you lash out at your partner and say mean things and do mean things. And so to improve your relationship and to maintain emotional safety around that, you want to address that and figure out what's going on and how to kind of curb that behavior. Okay. So in what ways do you show that you're angry to your partner?
I bully her.
Bully her?
Yeah.
And what does that look like?
Like, if she mispronounces a word, I'll say it the way she did it. In like a kind of like, I'm trying to be like friendly but I'm still mocking her, and even though she says like, oh, that like hurts my feelings, stop, I'll stop, but then when we're okay again,
You do it again?
I'll do it again.
So what are you trying to achieve by doing that?
I'm trying to rattle her up.
For what purpose?
Probably because I'm feeling irritable. Like, I'm feeling irritable, so I want to like irritate her.
To make her feel the same way you do.
Yeah. Probably to leave me alone.
So you need space, and so in order to get space, you're going to hurt her to ensure that space is given.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're upset and you're frustrated, you want to be alone, and you try to achieve that by pushing your partner away.
Yeah.
Have you ever asked for space from your partner?
I think I'm scared to. Ironically, I think I'm scared to like hurt her feelings by asking for space.
That's interesting. So you're gonna hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
To avoid hurting her feelings.
Doesn't make any sense. But that's what I do.
Is it easier though to be mean and push people away than ask for what you need?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Because if I'm mean, she's the one deciding to leave me alone.
Leave you alone. It's in her hands.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it really in her hands?
No, not at all.
No. Yeah. What would it look like if you asked her for space?
I don't know. I feel like I would have to like explain myself or like prove that I deserve to have space.
What about that bothers you?
What if I just want space because I had a long day and I just like want to relax? Why couldn't that be enough? Right? I'm like scared that she would be like, oh, I had a long day too.
And what would happen if she had a long day too? What would her reaction be?
She'd be disappointed in me, like disappointed that spending time with her wouldn't be relaxing enough. So maybe I'm scared of disappointing her.
So you're afraid to disappoint your partner, and you're afraid to hurt her feelings, and you engage in behavior that disappoints your partner and hurts her feelings.
Yes.
That's interesting.
I'm a walking contradiction.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's ironic. It is super ironic that I would do something that I don't want to do, but I fall to that behavior. I think falling to that behavior is easier on me because I don't have to I don't know, like I don't have to process my feelings.
It's just quick.
Yeah. I can just irritate her or like pick on her so she leaves, and then she leaves and I get what I want.
And it's more immediate.
Yeah, and I don't have to spend, 20 minutes talking about my day or like why I'm irritable.
Right. Does your partner need that from you, or is that something you think that they need?
I think that they need that.
Have you asked them if they need that explanation?
No.
No. What would it look like to ask that?
I think they would be open to me, like, asking for what I need. And open to me saying, like, sometimes I don't want to talk about my day. I just want to, like, relax. I feel like they would be open to it.
Yeah. So they would be open to hearing what you need and want. Yeah. I have questions. So when you're asking for what you need, or when you're identifying what you need from your partner, does that only happen in the moments where you're irritated, or is it something that could come up when you're not feeling angry and you're not feeling like you need space? Would that be like a safer way of bringing up the conversation?
Yeah. I know that I've asked for what I need because I'm an anxious person, and whenever I'm feeling anxious, I'm like really relaxed about asking for what I need.
Okay.
And she's always respected that with me. I don't know what's different about me feeling anxious and me not feeling anxious that stops me. I think when I'm anxious, I would rather be taken care of.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're asking for different things from your partner. So when you're anxious, you're asking for them to be there and take care of you and be present. And then it's hard to ask for them to leave you alone, in a sense. I see.
Yeah. When I'm not anxious and I'm feeling irritable and I want to be by myself, that's about like more independency and like I just want to be by myself. When I'm anxious, I would rather her take care of me, and I feel like it's easier to ask her to take care of me than it is to leave me alone.
Because you're worried about hurting her feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, because then asking her to leave me alone means that I don't need her, or that she's not valuable or appreciated.
Do you and your partner need to be together all the time?
No. I think we both go through like phases sometimes where it's like we both work a lot, and so when we're at home at the same time, it's like
you should be together.
We should be together, and so it's like really hard to be like, oh, like you just worked a 12-hour day, I just worked a 12-hour day. I should want to spend time with you, but all I really want to do is just like
decompress.
Yeah, and just be by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that would be difficult to navigate that, because probably in the back of your mind, you do want to spend time with your partner. You just need that time to decompress. So when you're in these emotional spaces, do you have to be by yourself for the whole night, or is it like you need just half an hour?
I think I want to be able to do like my own thing, and I game out a lot. So I think like in my head the perfect scenario would be like, oh, I had a total crap day. I want to come home, I want to eat dinner while I play games, and then like for a couple hours, and then I want to like connect with her right before bed.
Okay.
Like that would be the picture perfect thing in my head, but then I think I'm scared to ask for that because she probably had a long, difficult day, and like, why do I get TV privileges? And like, we only have one TV in the house, so it's like,
okay.
why do I get that TV privilege? But
I see.
she has to like do something else.
I see.
Because if like I wanted to decompress and she was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go watch a movie, you go decompress, I would get agitated because I'm like, no, I want to game out with my friends.
Yeah, that sounds complicated. Yeah, because you kind of both want to decompress in the same way,
yeah,
but not the same activity.
Yeah,
that I can see. Because then it sounds like if you push her away, then she'll want to isolate in a different way, and then you can have that space. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Are there ever times when your partner just wants to be by themselves?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think there's like, I don't know, like coming up, she's like planned 2 trips.
Okay.
Not that she like, I mean, one of them is a conference. There's 3 trips. 2 of them is a conference, and one of them is just for fun with some friends. But like that's her way of like wanting to do things on her own, and like, so I think like she does those things, or she like makes plans with friends and all that. I still feel like it's easier for her to do that because when she makes plans, I'm always like, okay, cool. Like I don't really.
It doesn't bother you?
No, not at all, because it's not frequent. Like it's not like she goes out like twice a week or like. Yeah, it's just like on the odd occasion she'll like go out, and so I'm always like, yeah, sure, that's cool. I don't care. I also like spending time by myself.
Right. Is there room for compromise with that, like where you can have kind of both time away and time together, like how maybe Jill would want to?
I think I'd have to find out what she wants to do. Or I think I have to find out what it would mean or look like for her before I even answered that.
Yeah. So is that a conversation you could have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah. Because how many hours do you have between when you get home and when you go to bed?
Not long.
Not long.
Usually like work, my first job ends at 5:30, and then I usually have my second job that's like 2 hours.
Okay.
So I usually get home by like 8.
Yeah.
And then I like to be in bed before 10. So like not very long.
Yeah, so it's not like you want to spend like 6 hours by yourself gaming. Yeah.
I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not very long.
So it sounds like you're not really angry, so to speak. It sounds like you have needs that you're not feeling are met, and you don't know how to get those needs met.
I guess so. Yeah. And then it comes out sideways, like it comes out in me picking on her.
Yeah. So you'll get those needs met in some form or another. Yeah. And then I'm sure you don't feel great about it.
No, I always feel like crap afterwards.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So it's like you get your immediate need met of having space, and then as an outcome of that, you feel emotionally poor, your partner feels hurt, and then her needs are not being met. Yeah. It's just what I'm hearing.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah. That's a tricky thing to navigate.
Yeah.
Is there any other outlet that you have for having a crappy day?
Yeah. I think she is one of my outlets. Like if I'm like really having a crappy day, I ask to like talk to her. Not that I like talk to her about what happens at work, but I'll just like talk to her about, feeling tired or burnt out, or just like, this sucks, whatever, like general feelings. I think other outlets are going to the gym. Like I do that too a lot when I'm just like not in the mood to be at home,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go to the gym instead. Especially if I know she's, like, if she's not home. Like,
Okay.
if she's out with friends or if she's doing her own thing, I'll just be like, what's the point in going
Mhm.
home? I'll just go to the gym. Because I'm still by myself.
Right,
And
right,
zoned out.
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you kind of have mentioned like you kind of both want her there and not there at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like want her presence and her support and love and all of that, but
Yeah.
then you just want to be left alone.
Yeah, it would be really cool if she, like, sat on the couch and watched me play video games.
Is that an option?
She does that, like, randomly, but she just gets mad at me when I play video games. So
Oh. Oh, okay. What makes her mad about you playing video games?
I play with friends, so apparently I get loud. Like, I have my headset on, so I don't know how loud I'm actually being.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay. Does she ever play video games with you?
no,
No, not her thing.
not at all. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So would she sit by you and like if you had I don't know how video game headsets work, but like if you had like an ear out so you could hear yourself, do you think that would mitigate some of that frustration that she seems to be having with your volume?
Probably.
Yeah. Is that an option for you?
I could try it. I mean, I could ask her to try it.
Yeah.
I mean, not that that would be like a thing that happens a lot, but I mean, in those like random moments where I'm like, don't leave, but
Yeah.
leave,
Yeah.
I could try that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your whole body language has just shifted. I'm
No.
noticing. Are you?
No, I'm just feeling sick, so I'm like holding myself.
Oh, okay. I'm nurturing myself.
Yeah, I'm nurturing my cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like I feel really comfortable with anger. I think
Mhm.
like anger gets like the crap end of the stick a lot, and I'm comfortable expressing anger. I'm
Mhm.
comfortable with other people's anger,
Mhm.
and so when I want to be angry, there's like this immediate guilty feeling because I
Mhm.
know that she is not comfortable with my anger. Or
Right.
she's not comfortable with how I express my anger,
Mhm.
and yeah, I think like that's also frustrating because sometimes I'm like I just want to be angry,
Mhm.
but I can't because it makes her uncomfortable.
Mhm. So you had like identified when you're angry or when you're feeling irritated that you bully and pick kind of at Jill.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other ways that you express your anger to her?
Yeah, like I get like just generally mean, I think.
Mm.
Or I'll like I'll get generally mean, like I'll say things that are pushing it too far to get like a reaction
Mm.
from her or like from anyone that's around me, just because I'm like, I'm angry, so I'm just gonna say something that's really over the top so
Mhm.
people are like, whoa.
Mhm.
And I think I do that because I'm like, I want you to know that I'm angry.
Mhm.
Like I don't
Yeah.
want people to comfort my anger, I just want people to be like,
Mm.
you're angry. It's like, yeah, I'm angry.
Are you hoping to engage in conflict?
No, I don't like conflict.
Mm.
Which is like, yeah, I don't like conflict. I don't want to be challenged when I'm angry. I just want to be angry.
Mhm.
And I don't want to have to prove that I'm allowed to be angry.
Mm.
And I think that's another thing with anger too, is like, I might get angry at like, I don't know, the cashier at the store is going too slow, so I like might make a comment
Mhm.
under my breath, and my partner will be like, you can't say that, or like, don't say that. It's like,
Oh.
I can. Like, why
Oh.
can't I say something?
So if you feel like you're not being justified or heard
Yeah.
by your partner saying like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or it's like, oh, well, you know, your anger doesn't match the situation.
Mm.
Where it's like, you're saying it doesn't match the situation because I commented on someone else's speed or
Mhm.
capacity. And so for me, I'm just like, no, I'm allowed to, I don't know. I think my perfect response, like to hear from someone else would be like, yeah, be angry.
Mhm.
Like, even just those words, like, yeah, be angry right now. I think as soon if I heard that, I would just be like, yeah, I'm not. This is annoying that I'm waiting, or like this cashier is taking too long. And I know that's like a silly example, but that happened over the weekend where it was just like, come on. Yeah, and like I wasn't allowed to be angry, and there was so many other reasons why the cashier wasn't going fast, and what about this and what about that, and it was like, who cares? Why can't I just be frustrated in that moment?
Have you ever told Jill that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
She doesn't think that my mood outweighs, like, I guess, generally just respecting others. Which is true, like, she's absolutely right. But on the weekend I didn't say anything that was targeting the cashier. I think I just said, like, I don't think this needs to take this long, is what I said. Like, to her, not loudly, and we weren't close to the cashier, but those are all excuses. I know where she's coming from, where she's like, you know, if that cashier heard, do you want to hurt that person's feelings? It's like, no, but maybe if it would make her go faster. Yeah. So that's the kind of the anger where I'm like, I want to be able to be angry at people without people taking it too seriously.
Right. So if Jill, from what I'm hearing, if Jill agreed with your anger and like said it was okay or matched your anger, that would make you feel better?
I think it would stop me from like going further.
Because you felt justified and heard. So it sounds like you want to be heard. Yeah. And validated.
Yeah. And I don't want to, like, I think my biggest thing too is like, I don't want to feel stupid. Right. So I think like even remembering what happened at the store, I think my immediate thing was like, I'm not stupid. Like, I don't want you to think I'm stupid.
You felt called out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't want that, and I think that's why I got angry so quick, because I was just like, I don't want to be stupid, or I don't want people to think I'm stupid either.
What does being stupid mean about you?
I think being stupid means like I'm not respected. And I'm very attachment focused. Like I care so much about my friends and my family. And if those people that I love so much think I'm stupid, then I immediately think that they don't care about me.
And then what does that mean?
Oh, it's the worst feeling in the world. It's like I wasted time building this relationship, or it could even mean like I'm being taken advantage of, or it could even mean like, oh, I am stupid. Like I'm not smart, or I'm like an imposter or something like that. I think those are the things that come up for me.
Yeah. So then you have anger, which trickles down to feeling stupid by being called out about your anger, which then means your relationship isn't strong and it was a waste of time, and then it wasn't valuable. That's big. That's a big feeling to have.
Totally.
Yeah. That must feel crushing sometimes.
Yeah. It's devastating sometimes. Sometimes it's like so silly that like, I mean like my wife knows what happens for me, so sometimes it's so silly that she'll just like be like, I don't think you're stupid. I think what you said is stupid. And like,
is that different for you?
I think in like moments where I can see it, like in moments where I like can notice that like I'm just being stupid. Like I think I can laugh it off and be like, yeah, you're right. But then there's other moments where like I genuinely, like what happened at the store with the cashier, that was a silly moment where she just like looked at me and was like, "You're not stupid. You said it was stupid." And like I just started laughing and was like, "You're totally right. Like if that cashier heard, I would have felt even worse. Like I don't want anyone to think that they're not capable of their job." But anyway, so like that was a silly moment. But like in arguments with her, if we're actually like bickering, and I start feeling like she thinks I'm stupid, it's so devastating. Like it's like I would rather her just like tell me that she's gonna leave or like break up with me than me feel like she thinks I'm stupid.
Which is interesting because you just said that you feel anger, which makes you feel stupid, which makes your wife call you out, which makes you think that your relationship isn't good and it was a waste of time, and then you're saying that you'd rather her leave you than think you're stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. That must be kind of confusing.
Yeah, I'm a walking contradiction.
And that's okay. That's okay. We don't always have to be, straightforward. We're humans.
Yeah. I think it's just like also like where I am emotionally, right?
Right.
I think like if I'm feeling emotionally stable, then it's easy for me to like rebound from that
instead of staying in it.
Yeah, but like if we're bickering and it's causing me to emotionally dysregulate, then I'm also like I was dysregulated before, and now this argument is causing me to dysregulate even more, and now I would rather you just like cut it all off
instead of it getting further.
Yeah, than me sitting in this pool of like dysregulation.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you just want to like. It's actually like, it seems like a safety thing, actually, of like, instead of you knowing it could go this far, you just only want it to get to this far before you do damage that can't be undone.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that like you are comfortable in anger, and you're comfortable with other people's anger. What about anger makes you comfortable?
I think anger is interesting because I think I grew up in like an angry household, and my dad was just an angry person always. And then if my mom got angry, it meant like, we would be spanked or whatever. So I like grew up in an angry household, and I was really scared of anger, and then I had an anger problem, and then it was in college, I met this girl and we started dating, and it was really serious, but she used to get picked on a lot for her looks, and then my friends actually would make fun of me for dating her because she wasn't, I guess, good looking enough anyway. And I just remember having this like moment in my life where I was like, I could get angry, or I could just like reevaluate what's going on in my life and like what means more to me. And so like I gave up a ton of friends because I was like, what does it mean in the larger theme of like, what does it mean in the larger picture for me to be friends with people who judge others based on their looks? So I just was like, yeah, okay, you think my partner's ugly. Okay, and then I just ended relationships because I was like, I don't want to fight with them. I just want to like move on and be happy. And doing that and going through that phase in my life felt so good that I became so comfortable with like not being angry, if that makes sense. And then that relationship ended, and it ended fine. Like we didn't fight, and we're still friends, and it's whatever. And then I started dating someone else a couple years after, and she had like massive bad anger. Like she would get angry, she would throw things, she would hit me, like it was just like bad anger. And then it made me hide, and it brought up all of this childhood memory of like all this anger and how scary anger is, and I became so passive to her anger. And then when we broke up, I hated myself. I thought that I like failed, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't lovable, that I wasn't I was not enough, and that's
Right.
why I lost her, and I kind of put her on this pedestal.
Mm.
And then it took me a while to reflect on that and be like, why was she always so angry?
Right.
And like, why did I choose to put her on a pedestal? It was because I was scared of her anger.
Right.
And then I would actually enable her anger by becoming so passive.
Oh, okay.
And so now I find anger so interesting because when I look back, I'm like, oh, she was angry because she constantly compared herself to her friends.
Mm.
And she would, like, when I rethink it, I'm like, oh wow, she would like make comments about, isn't my best friend so beautiful? She's perfect.
Mm.
Not because she like found her attractive, but because she wanted to be her.
Right.
And like she would just say these things about like, oh, like, you know, so and so graduated our program and is not even doing social work.
Mm.
She's like basically living off her engineer husband's wage.
Mm.
And like looking back, I'm like, oh, you're jealous. Like
Right.
you're jealous that you're not rich, or you're jealous that you don't. Anyway, so it's just like looking back, I'm like, oh, anger is actually quite interesting. I think anger is like a cop-out for other emotions.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it sounds like you hear that anger is a secondary emotion.
Yeah.
Because she is expressing anger, but really it's jealousy or not
Yeah.
feeling good enough or whatever.
Like insecurity or fragility, like all that stuff. And so like now I find it super intriguing when people get angry. I'm always like,
Mhm.
what's actually happening underneath all that? I don't even look at anger anymore
Mhm.
as something that's like real. I just
Mhm.
see it as like this mask, and I just want to know what's behind it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's
Mhm.
that's just
So for your anger with being at home, it sounds like it's because you're having needs that aren't met of being alone. What else do you think your anger is about?
probably about feeling like burnt out maybe sometimes with work,
Mm.
and probably even like that insecurity where it's like, am I going to be okay? Like that, what happened at work was really hard, or I'm still carrying memories of things that happened at work from, you know, a year ago.
Right.
Am I okay? Like, can I do this job? My partner and I are in the same field, and so I think it's like sometimes I see her energy and like her passion for things, and then I notice how tired I am, and how like when I get home I just like cut it. I'm like, I am no longer a therapist. When I'm at home I just like, I don't live in that world anymore because I want to take an emotional and literally physical break from what I do. And so sometimes when I see that her passion just like is like a snowball, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I get insecure because I'm like, oh, am I doing this job right? Am I good enough? Am I right? And then I can compare myself to her sometimes and get scared that I'm an imposter. I think there's just a mixture of things like that. So I think underneath my anger is like insecurity. It's not jealousy, it's like, it's like I don't know what it is. I'm not jealous, I'm scared. Like I think it's some fear too.
Fear of what?
That I'm like, I like look at how passionate she is and I'm like, I'm scared that maybe I'm not good enough. So it's not even about her, it's about, oh crap. Like, am I doing this right? Am
Right.
I okay? Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's definitely not jealousy. I don't think it's about her at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like about myself.
It's that fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your anger stems from feeling tired and burnt out and potentially not taking care of at work for those things that you're feeling like you can't let go of, things like that have happened to you a year ago that have not closed. And then you're feeling those things and you come home and your partner is excited and happy and has all of this energy, and then it makes you feel like you're not doing your job right, or like you're failing at it because she has a different energy level than you.
Yeah.
So then you're feeling like you need to isolate and be alone and have that decompressing time, and then you're gonna pick at her to kind of bring her down
Yeah.
to get another need met when all of this other stuff is happening for you.
Yeah.
Do you think people are allowed to have different levels of energy and passion and it shows differently?
Yeah, I think so. I think I know that. I think in the moment it's like, how do I believe that?
Yeah. And what does success look like for two different people?
Yeah.
What job does your partner do?
She's a psychologist, so she's now currently the manager of clinical services at the center.
Oh, so she's in charge of other people?
Yep, she sees clients, but she also manages the other clinical programs. And she's an instructor at the university.
So it looks like she has kind of like an overseeing job. She still has contact with clients, but it's more her directing other people and then educating young people that are coming into the field.
And then she has her private practice.
Right. And then what do you do?
I do.
Talk to me about it.
I do therapy for young folks that are experiencing homelessness at a non-for-profit. And I do private practice, and I'm an instructor at the university.
So you're both really busy, but it also sounds like you have very different contact with clients. And it sounds like the type of clients you see are very different.
Yeah, so. I think like I see a lot of complex mental health, as well as like I have to do a lot of cultural work as well, like linking people to housing and ensuring like that stuff is where she predominantly works with mental health and doesn't really step in that socio-cultural aspect at all.
Yeah, so maybe your energy levels would be different and your experiences during the day might be different too, right? Like maybe there's more room for excitement. I don't know.
Yeah.
So if somebody is excited about their job and they're doing really well in that way, does that mean you're not doing a good job?
Depends who. I think if I see coworkers really excited about their job, I feel good. Even if I had like a shit day.
Interesting.
Yeah, if I see my coworkers or people that I work closely with having like a really fun day, the worst thing could have happened in one of my sessions, but it would like vicariously make me feel so good. I think if I heard someone, chirping about their job, and maybe they do something that I don't find, like if I went to a dinner party and someone was like, oh, I'm like an interior designer, I would be like, oh, that's interesting, tell me more. But then if someone, was like, oh, I work for the Conservative Party, I would be like,
don't talk to me.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, no. And then but let's say they were really financially wealthy from doing a job that I have little respect for. I think then I'm like, am I in the right field? Like, should I have done something different with my life? Right. Which is weird that like sometimes I do that to myself too, where I'm like, why did I pick social work? I could have picked engineering, or I could have picked something else.
Right. So are you never excited about your job when you get home, and never like that snowball of energy, like you said?
I think it ebbs and flows. I think when I started as an instructor at the university, I was pretty excited and nervous, and then after teaching my first course, I was like, oh, that was not what I expected it to be. I thought it would be like super fun and exciting, and students are stupid half the time. Just joking. not really, but like, yeah. So I was just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Like, so it was exciting because I was learning, and that was exciting for me. I like when I learn. I don't like when I feel stagnant doing the same things repetitively.
Right.
So I think it like ebbs and flows, but I think overall I do enjoy everything that I do.
And you're passionate about it. Is your partner always excited?
Yes.
Oh, about work?
Yes.
Oh.
My partner is just like this bubble of happiness, and even like when she's crying or upset, she's funny, and so it's like, okay, like she's just, and I say that ironically, but she's just like a very happy person and very grateful for everything. So like her mentality towards stress is like, oh, that was super stressful, but I'm so lucky that I have a job that's challenging or clients that are challenging. And I'm like, are you lucky about that? So yes, she's a very happy person. Yeah.
Does it mean anything? Sorry, continue.
Which is then like goes into that conflict of like, am I doing my job? Like, I don't feel very excited when a difficult client is like resisting therapy. I get frustrated and I like want to shake them. Whereas like she has this like very grateful mentality. So then that feeds into this belief where I'm like, oh crap, am I doing my job right? Like,
Right. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you also have different approaches to things and have a different experience. Like you said, like you're more comfortable in anger.
Yeah.
And things, but you also have tendency towards anger.
Yeah.
So you just have different approaches and different reactions to similar situations because you're different people. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
So it sounds like you're addressing anger and understanding that there's so much more to it, an underlying emotion and challenges and thought processes around it. And some of that is coming from when you feel like you're not as good as your partner because she has a different approach and a different reaction to stressful situations in work.
Yeah.
That makes you feel like you're not doing your job properly and that it's not good enough. And you can also see other people, like your coworkers' happiness, and it gives you kind of energy and makes you excited. And there's aspects to your job that make you both excited and frustrated.
Yeah.
Especially in the instruction, it sounds like, and when clients are resisting counseling and that helping. And then it comes back to being home. And you've had a bad day and you just want some alone time. But you also don't know how to ask for that. So that can kind of add to that frustration and that feeling of like maybe, like you had mentioned, feeling stupid, being called out, the relationship kind of falling apart is a fear.
Yeah.
And then it being a waste of time. And that kind of is all also around Jill. Which then that feeling happens and then that anger comes up for you again because it's kind of something that you mentioned that you're comfortable with because it's familiar and that's how your family has been.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned that there's a time in your life where you weren't angry and you were fully comfortable with not feeling anger. So what was different then from now?
I think like life experiences happened and I've had to like learn about myself and be in charge of my own self-growth. I think anger is different for me now because I know what it's like to respond emotionally, impulsively, and I also know what it's like to self-regulate and for me and respond intuitively. So I think that's what's different is like I can predict the outcome of something more easily now than I could have in the past.
Because you had mentioned though that also part of your how you navigated a relationship with somebody that was angry is just to become passive. Yeah. So then it sounds like you're trying to find that balance between never being angry, being angry all the time, and then just being like passive and having no power in the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think what I'm taking away from this conversation is I am putting a lot of fear into assumptions
Mm-hmm.
where I could easily just engage in a conversation
Right.
and maybe stump those assumptions or problem solve
Mm-hmm.
instead of being fear-based.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of fear around the potential outcome of conversations.
Yeah.
That's what kind of I was thinking as well.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you have the tools,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like when you're regulated, like you said, emotionally regulated, and you're in that right kind of space, you're able to use them.
Yeah.
It's just the choice. Plus, maybe there's the opportunity for Jill to sit beside you and watch you play video games, so that she could be there and not be there at the same time.
And like understanding like how to scale needs, right? Like
Right.
I think when we were talking about the video game thing, it's
Mhm.
like on a scale of 0 to 10, like how much do I need this right now?
Right.
And is it what I actually need, or am I doing it because my brain is telling me that's what you do
Right.
to decompress?
Right. Yeah, because you had identified different options for that.
Yeah,
Right.
just as like picking the one that's right for me.
Mm-hmm. And what you need in the moment.
Yeah.
And it sounds like too is you need different things in different days. It's not like every single day you go home and that's what you need is to play video games and be away from Jill.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's also room for some compromise there. Like maybe some days that's what you do. Jill does something different.
Yeah.
She has a group of friends that support her in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. Anything else that you want to talk about?
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that we were able to chat and thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks.